You're listening to Tim Dennis on News Talk 610 CKTB.
You've heard us talk in the past about the Niagara Children's Center. You know that we've gone to air with all three of our company stations here with radiothons in the past, asking for your help. We've been at the Penn, we've been at the Children's Center, and you know in the past you've come through big time to help us. This year we're going to do something a little different because May begins what we're calling the Help Kids Shine campaign. You can always go to our website at any time or the website of the Niagara Children's Center to find out about this campaign. But what we're going to be doing to raise the awareness and raise money for the Children's Center is to highlight 12 young ambassadors that represent everything that the Children's Center can and continues to do. And it is such an amazing feeling walking through those doors as we did on Friday of last week for the kickoff of the whole thing. I wish so much that people could be with us, that everybody could be there that day and meet people face to face, because your preconceived notions would change. At the kickoff, great speech from my first guest here this morning, Sarah Pott, who has 2 children who are at the Children's Center. And Sarah and I have shared this microphone many times over the past few years. Hello, Sarah.
Good morning.
For people who don't know, tell me the story. Tell me why you were there on Friday. And by the way, we should say happy birthday to one of the 2 young ladies who was with you.
That's right. Today is Rachel's 9th birthday. And I'll tell you, 9 years ago today, I didn't know the Niagara Children's Center existed. And I think that's the story you'll hear from a lot of families is we didn't know the place existed until we actually needed the resources and needed the support.
How soon was it after her birth that you realized that something was amiss?
Well, to be honest, we actually had known of things at 32 weeks. Okay. So we were told that our unborn child had a number of issues. And when I gave birth on May 4 in 2006, we had a whole host of people in that labor room. And they all were attending to Rachel, and then they left with Rachel. They took her to the NICU at McMaster Children's Hospital, and I was alone in that labor room. And I remember the surreal feeling, almost a pressing on my chest, like, this is really happening. And this baby that I've just birthed looks nothing like me, looks nothing like my other children. And yet this child is mine. It's like the book title, My Child Was So Far From the Tree, so far from the proverbial parent tree. And for those next 6 weeks, when we talked with specialists who were also puzzled by Rachel's presentation, we began to wonder really how we were going to make this work. Because here we have a child who wasn't able to, and this is Rachel's situation now, not walk on her own. She doesn't talk. She's nonverbal. She doesn't use her mouth to suck and swallow. So she's Jeep tube fed 24/7. I mean, how do I, as a parent, take care of my child when she's so different from me and so not what I thought of when I dreamed of having a child? And yet 6 weeks after her birth, we were discharged from McMaster Hospital and pointed in the direction of the Children's Center. So I like to say in the summer of 2005, I had no idea the place existed. But by the fall of 2006, we were more than anxious to get through those doors and start belonging to the place that said, hey, you're not alone.
There are a lot of people in the position that you were in not knowing what was going on. It's not a hospital per se. Right?
No, it's not. And you know what? Even when you walk through the doors, the clinical aspect of it is there in the sense that you know you're seeing therapists, but it's bright, it's colorful, it's kid-friendly, it's accessible. It basically looks like just another one of these places here in the region that says kids matter. They're very intentional, too, with what they've got in the hallways, pictures of kids receiving services so that you're not coming in thinking, what am I doing here and where am I going? It's pretty clear and they're transparent. They love kids.
When you talked to the docs at MAC as you were being discharged and they were saying, Children's Center, Niagara Children's Center, go there. Were there any other options? Where would you have gone or what would you had to have done had the Children's Center not been here in Niagara?
That's a great question, because I don't think we really had any idea of what we would do. I think the idea of moving our family was beyond our scope of understanding at that point, partly because we knew Rachel would need a lot of support from McMaster. And yet we didn't want to live in a hospital, and we didn't want to move close to a hospital. There was something about wanting to have a normalcy, even if it was a new normal.
But that would have been the reality had the Children's Center not been here.
That's right. And I can't turn to my friends and family to say, can you help me with Rachel's legs? They're malformed. Can you help me with her vision? She needs support. These are things that friends and family can't do for us.
Now, I've got to point out that it's also a boon to the families as well as the children, and that you have another daughter in the same situation.
That's right. We have 4 girls: Emily, Sophia, Rachel, and Janneke. And Janneke is a lot like her sister Rachel. Janneke is 6. And so, yes, to be honest, I was walking through those doors in the fall of 2006, excited to belong and to have Rachel's needs met to the best of the Children's Center ability. And yet here I was, and then in the fall of 2009, walking through those doors with 2 kids. Janneke was born in March of 2009, and we had no idea that she was going to be born with any complex needs. And yet when she was born, she presented exactly like Rachel. And so she too doesn't walk without assistance. She doesn't talk. She's G-tube fed. The Children's Center helped us out with this, and it was so good to know when we had a totally different frame of mind when we were in the hospital with Janneke, in the sense of, okay, we've been through this with Rachel, and we know there are supports in place, and how reassuring that was for us as a family. There's such an overwhelming, almost suffocating feeling when it's your first child with this diagnosis or these delays. And it's ironic that in having another child, we're thinking, hey, we've seen this before, and we know there are supports in place. We're not going to be alone in this.
Were you lucky enough not to have to wait?
We didn't have a long wait time, no. And that is definitely has been a blessing, because there are many families who still sit on a wait list. And there is nothing more frustrating than sitting on a wait list and watching your child, knowing your child needs supports in the present, and having to wait.
Frustrating doesn't probably even cover it, because if you can imagine what you would feel like knowing that your child needs help, and as a parent you weren't able to give it to them, and you didn't know what help to give them, and that the center was there, yet you couldn't get through the doors yet.
Well, it's almost as if it's just beyond your reach.
Exactly.
Right?
You can reach, but you can't touch yet. We want to get those kids off of that wait list. And Sarah, you spoke so eloquently on Friday about why that's so important.
It is. We need to be able to say to our families in the region, you're not alone. And in committing to a place like the Children's Center, we're saying the future is also going to be great for these children. We want to be able to commit as a whole region and beyond, and saying families matter, all kids matter, and all kids deserve to succeed in their own way. And I look at the way that Rachel and Janneke have been supported, and the way that the Children's Center has been home for us in the last 9 years. I want that for other families, because we have felt then empowered to go look for other ideas. Our children are getting older. Rachel's transitioning from the Children's Center to Beacon Christian School. Janneke's staying at the Children's Center. We're in a time of transition. And I want to be able to say to other families who are just starting this journey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're not alone. But we need our region to commit to supporting these families.
And that means us. That means the people.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me give you the reasons. Oh, well, we've had the reasons. Let me give you the nuts and bolts on how you can help. You can help right now by calling them at 905-688-3550. That's 688-3550. Call them right now with a one-time donation. You can join the Help Kids Shine Club for just $15 a month. Or you can text the word KIDS. Very simply, text the word KIDS to 20222 to make an immediate donation. Or even better, just drop by the center anytime and see what goes on. All these details are on our webpage at 610cktb.com. Sarah, thanks so much.
Thank you, Tim.
We'll stay in touch, and we'll hear a lot more about this as time goes on. And a happy birthday to Rachel.
Thank you.
And of course, all of our best to all of the kids who are in listening this morning, out there listening to the begin the beginning of our Help Kids Shine campaign 2015 for the